I know a lot of you go and say, oh, it's closure, and then you end up doing things that you shouldn't do. And we listen, we don't judge. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Olushewa. I am navigating life in my 20s and having fun while I'm at it. So if you're not too busy, join me. So today we're going to be talking about breakups, heartbreaks. I know I'm being dramatic because obviously you've already seen the thumbnail. But yes, if you're around my age, somewhat younger, somewhat older, then you have definitely had your heart broken one or two times. You've definitely experienced breakups because now everybody go to breakfast. All right, let's get into it. Let me be serious now. Let me be serious. I mean, it's not everybody, but yeah, a good number of people have gone through one or two heartbreaks or breakups. And today we're just going to talk about it. Anyway, so you've gotten your heart broken, you and that your boyfriend of donkey years have broken up. What do you do? So, first thing is acceptance. You see all you people that are always looking for closure. You people need to rest, okay? There is no closure. I mean, sometimes people do find closure, and that's great for them. But I find that it's not going to always happen. Closure isn't always going to happen. Sometimes you have to close that chapter for yourself and by yourself because seeking closure from the other person can just lead to reopening old wounds or just doing things that you shouldn't do, to be honest. Because I know a lot of you go and say, oh, it's closure, and then you end up doing things that you shouldn't do. And we listen, we don't judge. You know the things I'm talking about, but let's not get into it, right? Let's not use our whole mouth to say it. You know what I'm talking about. But yes, sometimes you just end up going back to a toxic or a situation that's just not working. You now start having on and off relationship. What's your relationship status? It's complicated, bruh. Uncomplicate that thing, please. Stop looking for closure. Accept it by yourself. Just come to reality. Accept it, honestly. And I'm saying these things from experience because I've had two like major breakups, and in the first one, I would say that I was completely sidelined. I was not expecting it. It was just very abrupt and random, right? So I was very unprepared. In the first few weeks, it seemed like, oh, this thing are jokes. It's just a joke. It's not real. It's not. And I was in my own way trying to like find answers. I would say the other person involved was already prepared for the possibility of that happening, but I wasn't at all. I was just shattered in one spot, in one go, and it was hard to come to terms with. So I can understand, right? So I started kind of trying to reach out through calls and texts, trying to find answers. And at some point, I just was like, girl, do you know who you are? Get up. Like, you need to get up. And I'm saying that to you, like, get up. You're embarrassing yourself. Get up, okay? That closure you're seeking is not going to happen, okay? Yeah, but in the second one, I was much more prepared. Like I was prepared. I was already done, to be honest. And then he went ahead and like stopped talking to me for like a whole week or so. And then came back and said, "Oh, I think we should break up." And in my head, I'm like, we broke up a week ago, according to my records, right? So I was much more prepared for that. So it made it a little bit easier. So I know that sometimes the context, the situation could make it a little bit more difficult, but at the same time, pick yourself up and move. All right. So next is setting boundaries. I would say that this actually helps you to accept it because I mean, you have to set boundaries. You need to come to terms that you guys are now two individuals who are more or less strangers, right? Or friends from afar, or acquaintances, or somebody that just knows somebody, right? So boundaries are important, and that's where the question comes in: should I block my ex? Well, if that's what works for you, you can. However, I think that boundaries look different to everybody. For some people, it is blocking. For some, it's just muting. For some, it's logging out of that Netflix account or that Prime account or that Apple Family, Spotify, whatever it is that you guys have going on. So it looks different for everybody. So I would say there's no one size fit all, whatever works for you, but do not delude yourself. Delulu is not disolulu. Please do not live in a bubble. Tell yourself the honest truth. Do I need to block this person to move on? If your answer is yes, then do that, because you always have to choose you first. In my own instance, I don't think I ever blocked any of my exes. I just felt like, you know what, these people are here. I mean, no wala. In the first one, because I was hurt, I was upset. I just felt like I didn't want to see this person, and so I muted him. I didn't want to see anything from him, so I muted him. You could do that too. That brings us to moving on. Okay, so after all is said and done, you have to move on. But the big question is, how do you move on? Honestly, the healing process looks different for everyone. But I would say that some things that work is finding a new hobby, learn to swim, read more books, and self-care. Honestly, self-care is very therapeutic. So take yourself out on a solo date. Nothing very fancy or extravagant. Could just be like a cozy, warm space, a cafe, a flower shop, something really nice where you could just enjoy a book or the view. Just live in a like calm, serene, zen era, and just get out of that funk, honestly, because sometimes it does look like you're not going to get over it, and you will, girl. You will. Honestly, I would say give yourself grace, because that's very important. I feel like you'll be doing yourself a great disservice if you think, oh, I'm going to get over this person in a week, right? Your feelings had what? You've been with them for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Your feelings had a lot of time to develop. So it's unfair to yourself to be like, oh, I need to get over this person in a week. You're lying to yourself, all right? Give yourself grace, give yourself time. As much as I'm an advocate for do not sit there and just continue to wallow in grief or hurt or whatever, I am still for giving yourself grace. You will need time, take the time. In that era, just love yourself. Remember that you are whole, whether or not you're with this person, you are a whole human being. You are an individual and you are perfect, irrespective of your flaws, right? And then there's one last thing that I would like to say. Nigerians, Africans as a whole don't really like to take this advice, but my dear, if you need help, if you need someone to talk to and you feel like your family members, your friends are not understanding you, go and see a therapist or a counselor, honestly, because these days their services are very much more accessible than they used to be. And I feel like some people feel like it's embarrassing, or you're shy, you don't know what to do. My dear, do it. I'm always for therapy. I'm always for counseling. If you need it, go and get it done. You don't even need to leave the comfort of your home, to be honest. There are different apps now that offer counseling or therapy services. And I think there's My Paddy. I don't know if they still exist, but there's My Paddy and there's My Therapist.ng. You could speak to a counselor for as low as what? 7,000 naira, 8,000 naira per session. You get one session done, 3 sessions, 5 sessions, 10 sessions. Take as much time as you need without dragging it out for too long and without crossing those boundaries that you have set. Last but not the least, remember that God loves you and there's no love that is greater than that. So bask in God's love. Oh, and I almost forgot. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me how you went through your last heartbreak or breakfast or breakup or whatever way you want to describe it. You might just want to leave some comforting words for someone who might be going through this stage. Anything at all, just leave me a comment. Like, share, subscribe. God bless you. See you in my next video. Bye bye.